Fargo, Minnesota Sports Prep Update for Thursday, January 16th. I'm Ryan Phelps. We had 5 outdoor high school hockey games this weekend at TCF Bank Stadium at the University of Minnesota. 3 more this coming Saturday at the Hankey Pit in Elk River. It's picturesque. It's nostalgic. But is it getting oversaturated? It started almost 10 years ago with college and NHL teams playing outside. We had our first outdoor throwback game that drew national attention back in 2007 in Baudette. That was on the Rainy River. And once FSN jumped on board the following year in 08, also in Baudette, Hockey Day Minnesota has become a staple. Last year's weather in Grand Rapids was brutal. Freezing cold with driving snow. In other years it was too hot. Once too rainy, and at 25 below zero with a 40 below wind chill. The first year in Baudette in 2008 was just downright too cold. And in fact, 2 years ago at Minnetonka, it was so warm that they ultimately moved the event indoors. But this year might be the year, finally, for perfect weather for an outdoor hockey game. It certainly was the case last Saturday, and could be again this week. As of right now, they're calling for partly sunny with a high near 22, and a west wind around 5 miles per hour. By the way, the lineup for Saturday's Hockey Day Minnesota in Elk River starts at 10:15 a.m. with Rochester Lourdes taking on Cloquet Esco Carleton. At 1 o'clock, Elk River versus Stillwater, and at 4, the Anoka girls versus the Elk River girls. Maybe these games are getting overdone. They seem to be a dime a dozen now, but they do make for great theater. And if you haven't been to one, this coming Saturday may prove to be the perfect day.
Your first word probably wasn't something like finance, or savings, or ATM. But whatever that first word was, it opened up a world to you that was built on conversations. It's this exchange of ideas that Wells Fargo puts into practice every day, through listening, guiding, and planning. So when the conversation is about ways to grow your savings or your business, we'll be here to help you find the right answers. Because an open dialogue is what opens doors. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A.
I'm in a state of caffeination, got all my fingers shaking. Must have been my large Americano, mochaccino, macchiato. Now the family's gone to bed, and that's my favorite time to get some tips on better rates. Cause my State Farm guy answers late, and even when it's not my agent, someone's standing by so patient. Getting coverage questions answered helps me to relax. Get to a better state, State Farm.
Visit Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, located off Singletree and Flying Cloud Drive, online at brandywarmbier.com.
Attracting birds doesn't have to be only a spring and summer activity. Food supply is scarce for feathered creatures, so pick up a bag of Performance Seed Premium Wild Bird Food. It's a quality blend of nutritious grains and seeds and is perfect for year-round use. Visit Hardware Hank, pick up a bag, and feed birds with the guts to stick around for the winter.
You've got a lot more going for you with Hank, Hardware Hank.
It's time for our Hardware Hank Nuts and Bolts Athletes of the Week, which are selected every Tuesday based on your nominations to MinnesotaScores.net. Each week we pick 2 winners, one from the Metro and one from Greater Minnesota. The Outstate winner is Kyle Wagner from St. Francis Boys Hockey, and the Metro winner is Leo Hipp from Forest Lake Nordic Skiing. The Wells Fargo Minnesota Sports Prep Update can be heard right here every Monday through Friday, and for more coverage you can find us on the web at MinnesotaScores.net. That's Minnesota-Scores.net. I'm Ryan Phelps on Minnesota Sports Radio.
It's time for another round of live local play-by-play coverage of Southwest Metro High School sports. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by The Mulch Store, Performance Therapy Innovations, Alpha Investment Advisors, The Tavern on 4 and 5, The Sun Current, Home Video Studio, and in partnership with BEC TV, Bloomington Educational Cable Television. Catch all of the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Game time is coming up next.
And a happy Thursday evening to you. We're live from the Eden Prairie Community Center for the first night of Lake Conference Hockey here on PSB Media as it's Wayzata versus Eden Prairie here on a snowy and windy Thursday night from the EP Community Center. My name is Brett Johnson. I'll be hosting the broadcast for tonight. Later on, Pete Wagner and Bart Archer will have the play-by-play and color commentary of the game coming up here on PSB. Coming into the matchup, both these teams, two of the favorites in Section 6. Looking at the records, of course, Eden Prairie with a very solid record of 9-4-1, although they haven't been playing their best hockey as of late, as there's just 2-4-1 in their last 7 games. Wayzata, on the other hand, they come in with a record of 11-4. They're at least the number 1 seed in Section 6 in terms of QRF rankings, and this will certainly be an important matchup in terms of Lake Conference implications, as both these teams get conference play underway here in the Lake, which, without a doubt, is probably the toughest league in the state of Minnesota. Well, Eden Prairie's last game, they were able to snap a streak where they were just 1-4-1 in their last 6 games by getting a 4-2 victory over Cloquet Esco Carleton. Now, we'll have some highlights of that game coming up in just a couple of seconds here on the pregame show. You're listening to Boys High School Hockey as it's Eden Prairie versus Wayzata here on PSB Media.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials, or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results of PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results.
The sound of a satisfying meal. More than 200,000 people in the Twin Cities don't have enough access to food. Now's your chance to do something. Share a simple meal of soup and bread to help raise money to fight hunger locally. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. until 2:30 p.m., join supporters like yourself for Prop's 4th annual fundraiser. On top of breaking bread, collect a one-of-a-kind hand-painted ceramic bowl. Enjoy entertainment by After 5 Women's Vocal Ensemble and other local musicians. And fight to keep your neighbors fed. Sponsored by Pulte Group, the Minnesota Vikings, and Cheryl Eastbourne of Edina Realty, it's the Props 4th Annual Fundraiser. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. till 2:30 at Eden Prairie's Central Middle School. To learn more, go to propfood.org.
Why aren't you eating?
Like these insurance bills are so high, I've lost my appetite. I am freaking out.
Mysteriously high rates can be stressful. Switch to State Farm for discounts up to 40%. Get to a groovier state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on PSB Media, getting you set for Wayzata versus Eden Prairie here in the opener of Lake Conference play. There's one other conference game taking place tonight over at the Pagel Activity Center as Minnetonka is hosting Hopkins. And talking to some Hopkins people, they have high expectations that they think they have a good chance to go in and try to get a win over at Pagel, which certainly is a very tough place to play. In fact, it's where Eden Prairie will be playing coming up on Saturday in a game we'll have for you on PSB Media. Well, last Saturday, Eden Prairie got a victory over Cloquet Esco Carleton. Actually, I misspoke. That was last Friday night when they beat CEC. A much-needed victory that the Eagles got. They had been 1-4-1 in their past 6 games coming into that Cloquet-Esco-Carleton matchup. And let's go ahead and play some highlights from that CEC versus Eden Prairie game. It was a defensive stalemate in the first period as Cloquet did a great job playing defense, but finally at about the 13:35 mark, the Eagles got on the scoreboard on a great pass. Eden Prairie actually held a heavy shot margin in the first period. It seemed like one of those games where Cloquet was going to keep it 0-0 the entire way, but then Eden Prairie broke through again in the second period at the 8:18 mark to go up 2-0 on that tip out in front. But things very interesting at the end of the second period. Eden Prairie had dominated the first 2 periods of the game, but Cloquet got a late one late in the second period. You see a great pass off of a guy who was falling to the ice to make it 2-1, but Eden Prairie struck early in the third period as Steven Spinner got a tip out in front, and that put the Eagles ahead 3-1. But CEC would not go quietly. Approaching the final minute of the game, they were able to get a great centering pass to make it a 1-goal game and make it 3-2. They pulled the goaltender, of course, at the end of the game, but EP was able to bury an empty netter as they skated away with a 4-2 victory over Cloquet-Esco-Carleton. Again, it was an interesting matchup, being that Cloquet played a very defensive style in the first and second periods. I think Eden Prairie had something like a 26-6 shot advantage, but the Eagles stayed patient, were able to get those 3 goals in the second and third periods, and they got the empty netter at the very end. And overall, a entertaining matchup. I'm sure a little closer than some of the Eden Prairie fans may have wanted, but hey, you'll take a win when you can get one in January, especially after coming off the streak that Eden Prairie was on again, where they were just 1-4-1 in their past 6 matchups. Wayzata, on the other hand, they're coming off a recent loss to Benilde St. Margaret's, which should have some Section 6 implications in terms of seeding, as the top 3 seed in Section 6 will likely be Wayzata, Benilde St. Margaret's, and Eden Prairie. Although Holy Family Catholic's been playing well themselves, you never know if they could sneak up into the number 2 or number 3 seed, but looks like they'll probably be locked into the number 4 seed in Section 6. Of course, tonight, though, it is Wayzata versus Eden Prairie here on PSB Media. And I have a special treat as the voices of Minnesota hockey, so to speak. Pete Wagner, Bart Archer will be providing the play-by-play and color commentary of tonight's game. They're also doing the broadcast over on 105.7 The Ticket on the radio. And we're happy enough that they let us take the audio feed for tonight's game, so they'll be providing the announcing of the game coming up in just a few minutes here on PSB Media. Zamboni's on the ice. The teams should be on the ice in just a few minutes. We'll take one final timeout, and when we come back, we'll send things over to Pete and Bart as they'll have the call of tonight's action. I'll be back between periods to give you a first period analysis, as that's coming up here on the broadcast. It's Wayzata versus Eden Prairie here in the late conference opener on PSBMN.com.
I'm Dr. Dennis Lenslink, Clinic Administrator and Patient Care Coordinator for Advocare Clinics. And I'd like to welcome you to our office. Advocare Clinics is considered an outpatient rehabilitation facility. We're pretty much one-stop shop. We offer wellness and prevention as well as acute pain and injury management. We have 3 distinct departments in Advocare. We have a physical therapy department, a chiropractic, wellness and prevention, and acupuncture department, and a medical procedure department. And the unique characteristic is how we combine those therapies. Our goal is to prevent surgeries or conditions getting worse. So one of our specialties is knee, hip, ankle, shoulder problems, where people are considering surgery. Many times we can then provide care that'll buy them 5 to 10 years of ongoing function with their original equipment, their own joints and shoulders. Our patients tell us that they like the attention to detail that we deliver in our therapies. Most of our patients give us a 7+ score on a 1 to 10 scale, which means we're meeting a good amount of patient satisfaction based on your scores. Advocare's mission is to provide you a full and active lifestyle to the limits that you want, not what your body gives you.
Advocare Clinics, located off 494 and Highway 100, online at advocaremn.com. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, the Tavern Turkey Burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Ellie Johnson of Healthy Training shares her strategy to get people back to a healthier life.
We have a wide variety of clients, anywhere from early teenagers up to clients in their 70s and 80s. What we tend to find with a lot of clients coming in is that they've put other things as a priority in most of their life. They've put work first, they've put their kids first, and now it's time to kind of take some time for yourself. We gauge this to you, not only on what you're trying to achieve as far as your goals, but also what you're looking for in a personal trainer. It's called personal training for a reason. It's individualized to you.
Located south of 62 on Edenvale Boulevard, online at healthy-training.com.
Welcome back here to PSB Media. I'd like to remind you that to check out the Empty Bowls fundraiser coming up on Saturday. It's a great way to raise money for those who are having a tough time finding food in the community. It's taking place Saturday, 2 days from now, from 11 until 2:30, which will be over at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie. A really cool event. You can have a humble meal of bread and soup and then take home a ceramic bowl. Cost is free to attend. They have some local entertainment from some different local bands, so really do check it out. A great way to raise money for those who are hungry. It's sponsored by Prop, which is a great food shelf here in the area. Again, Saturday, 11 until 2:30 at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie. They're just announcing the starting lineups here at the Eden Prairie Community Center. We'll go ahead and listen in for those in just a second as you hear the Wayzata starting lineup. Actually, we'll tell you about the Eden Prairie starting lineup, which will feature some usual starters with Jake Gertis between the pipes for Eden Prairie. He's played the majority of the games so far this season. They'll, of course, also have their top defensive pair of Luke Snugrud and Brady Shue to start on the ice. And taking a look at their first line, looks like we have some changes on the first line. Steven Spinner will, of course, be on that top forward line. They'll also have Michael Graham on the top line, and it's like we'll also see Michael Parrish seeing some time up on the first line for Eden Prairie. So some switches for Coach Lee Smith and his squad. He's kind of juggling that first line over the past few games, and now it looks like trying that different combinations, as tonight it'll be Parrish, Graham, and Spinner up on the top line for Eden Prairie. We'll go ahead and listen in now for the national anthem on PSB and then turn things over to Pete Wagner and Bart Archer in just a second here on PSBMN.com. Girls hockey player Ashley Astor with the national anthem. Will take one more brief timeout and have the drop of the puck up next.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Why aren't you eating? Like these insurance bills are so high, I've lost my appetite. I am freaking out.
Mysteriously high rates can be stressful. Switch to State Farm for discounts up to 40%. Get to a groovier state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
And get the puck out. Obviously, they get their speed through the neutral zone. I think that's the challenge for this Eden Prairie team. But Wayzata, I think, is going to be a little bit of a favorite going into this speed, even on the road.
Well, this is going to be interesting, Bart Arch. We have our ice mic right around the side of the Eden Prairie bench. And right now I'm looking at the Eagles' Jack Sullivan with one hand right next to it.
Oh, I see it.
Doesn't even know it's there.
Right.
And we're underway here from the community center as the puck is played back into the Eden Prairie zone. Swung up on the right wing side. On it there was number 19, Michael Parrish. He'll lose as the Trojans will work the offensive zone. Spinner back in behind his own net. Now it's going to be Snuggerud, the leading point getter here on his squad with 24 as he enters. Crosses the center red, puts that one in deep behind the net. Vaughn Aaron sets up, and it's going to be played up to the left wing side for Sendon. He tries to force one through the middle, and that's picked off neatly there by Graham, and Spinner plays back in deep. Vaughn Aaron was there, and that one's going to trickle off the right side of the cage. That one slides through the goal mouth area. Forecheck continues. It's going to be Healy on it for the Eagles. He's going to be pinned up by Hemingway. Still 2-on-2 to the corner. Eagles back into the offensive zone behind the net. And it's going to be, once again, the Trojans to control as they're going to play out of the zone neatly there. Nice little breakout through center from the left wing side. They're going to angle that one in on the dump in. And it's going to be Mark Sullivan back behind his own net. He outlets to the right wing side for Jack Sullivan, but there's the neutral zone play of the Wayzata Trojans to repel that one right back in. Off a skate, deflected down neatly by the defense of the Eagles. That was Aguilar on the play. And the Trojans will play it to the right wing side. They'll play in deep. Gertis sets off. They're going to ring it back up to the left wing wall. The Eagles in control with Keeley. Angles the pass neatly on the stick for Jack Sullivan. Steered out of there by Vaughn Aarons. Off the glass, up to the right wing side. Tucked up the right wing wall by Duma and played in on Vaughn Aarons. They had to jiggle it out of the pads there to keep it alive, and he did. But Shue from the right point is going to play that one back in behind. Back up high to Snuggerud. Sidesteps one would-be checker. They play that through, and here come the Trojans out of the zone across center and in deep. So far in the first 2+ minutes, it's been the Eagles in possession of the biscuit. At the line, it's just offside. Whistle down there as the Trojans caught themselves. Will face off just outside the Eagle zone.
No, you're right. Eagles have brought a lot of energy, a lot of offensive zone time, bottling and pressuring the puck against the Trojan defenders. They've had some success. They're rolling over the lines quickly, so they're going to keep some fresh legs out there, but pressure so far has been successful for Eden Prairie.
Snuggerud with it. He walks to the right wing side, carries it low. Hemingway works on him. Centering pass fails the click. Back up ice come the Trojans through neutral. On it there was number 19, Luke Patterson. He was chucked away for the puck. It's going to be slapped up the wall there by Stevens. Off the glass, back in behind the net. Spinner back on the ice now for the Eagles. You heard him jump the wall. That's off the skate neatly there. Niederer. Love that name. Niederreiter. In on goal, and there's Dingman to make the save right off the midsection.
Well, Dingman's had seen a couple shots so far. Gertis without a shot. We're early into a 14-13 left in the scoreless first period, but Eden Prairie showing some good energy, and they're playing aggressive at their own blue line. They're actually pressuring and forcing Wayzata to make a play, and that's a recipe for success, at least in the short term.
Graham gets the draw back to the left point. Sullivan misses wide of the cage, and they battle off the left circle. Off the glass and out by Sendon. The center ice 2-on-1 if they hurry. Freitag backhand to the back door. They fail to click there as he had his man Sorensen in front. And that one failed to click, and the Eagles transition back across the line. Turned over there, though. Lindstrand with a fine play as he plays that away from Spinner, and it's played back in behind the Wayzata net. They're going to cycle back for Lindstrand too far. Here comes Spinner. He's hounding. Look out. You don't want to run into that guy, as that was handled out of the zone neatly by Sendon. From center ice. Now it's played back through. The Wayzata Trojans will walk off the boards. Play that one to the top of the circle. And once again, it's going to be handled back off the corner. Mahout was there momentarily, but great work off the end boards. Deep pass to the left wing. That was Argensinger that found his man in stride. Jack Keeley stood up behind the line as he goes down the turnover. Here's the fire wagon hockey we were looking for. Mahout stood up by Shue. He plays ahead neatly. Here come the Eagles back up ice with a quick shot off the post. It hits Von Ahrens, and he turns and makes a beauty there to keep that one out of the net.
Well, it all started. Eden Prairie sent 3 men behind the goal line virtually and allowed Wayzata to come back 3-on-2, but a good challenge at the blue line. Poke checked the puck back, and Eden Prairie in transition came back, fired a relatively harmless shot on Von Ahrens. I don't think he saw it. It went glove side, but it might have hit the post, but it fell behind him. And a moment of trepidation for this Wayzata team. Face off outside the Wayzata zone, so the net coming off the moorings initiated by Eden Prairie.
Good call there by the officiating crew tonight. They're going to regroup in their zone to the Trojans. On it there was Melk. Nice little house going at center. And turned aside. Here's a foot race back. The puck slithers into the Wayzata zone on the backhand. And a big save made there by the goaltender once again. As that was Von Ahrens to take that one away.
Yeah, in fact, it was a foot race, and it was basically a draw, but Dieter came kind of a trailer on that one and put a pretty weak shot on Von Ahrens, but he had a pretty good look. Von Ahrens with that big body made himself look big, so what could have been a very trying situation for the Trojans, actually just a harmless whistle and face-off to Von Ahrens' right.
Michael Graham seems like he's been taking face-offs all night. Sorensen gets the draw to the right of Von Ahrens. And it's going to be the Trojans' left wing side spinner. Good body position. Very strong player. It'll be helped down along the wall behind the net. Parrish Spinner plays back up high to the right point for Snuggerud. His shots spun away there by the Trojans. And they'll bump it off the wall. They zigged instead of zagged. Failed to click there. Going one way on the play there was Mark Senden, and that one's going to be an icing call.
Well, again, Eden Prairie forwards down below the dot, all 3 of them. Wayzata gains possession, comes back with an odd man rush, but banked off the board. Not a good angle on that one. Missed the target all the way down, icing face-off to Von Ahrens right again, but face-offs against the Wayzata in particular, very, very important.
No score here in the first period, 12:25 to go from the Eden Prairie Community Center. It's the Trojans of Wayzata on the road against the Eagles of Eden Prairie as the Wayzata club works up the left wing side. Fires that one in wide of Gertis left side. The Karam will be pushed all the way back up to the right wing wall as he's forced to center. Big check thrown there. Back in toward the corner. It's going to be handled by Shue. He'll bump it off the board. Snuggerud loses the handle. He has to get away from his own man on the play. That was Graham. And it's going to be Sullivan. Spinner. Oh, look out. Deflects that one up and out of play.
That'll keep some Wayzata faithful from texting while the game is going on. Got into the crowd in a bit of a hurry. And the noise that you're hearing of the Eden Prairie Eagles coming off the bench, apologize for that part of it. But Eden Prairie doing a good job of getting out of their zone efficiently. They're playing good position. They're moving the puck quickly. Wayzata can't catch up. But so far, Eden Prairie's really turned in a good effort so far.
Yeah, the one thing that has happened, the Trojans have had 4 out of the zone coming up as a group more than once, maybe 2-3 times here. We'll watch to see if that development continues to evolve here as this game wears on.
Aggressive Eden Prairie forecheck.
Puck is dumped in off the glove of Spindler. The forecheck continues now. Jack Sullivan carries up to the right wing wall. Plays back down low. Argensinger was there. Bumping check there by Keeley. Mahout works down low. The center and the senior plays that one up through to the neutral zone. It'll be rung back in by Brett Boldenau. It seems like we've been calling that name for years. Whether it be Brad or to the left wing side it goes. Boy, he was on that first state championship team, if you recall, back in the day.
Well, think of the Rouse, think of the Rafts. I mean, this is a team that it's a family affair.
Indeed it is. Left wing side they go to the Trojans. It's going to be Boldenau try to play it up to the right. Penalty coming up. This one on the Eagles. And we'll get to see the power play part. If you were with us on the pregame, we talked a little bit about the penalty kill for the Eagles, forsaking them a little bit here this year. And this is going to be a key moment right now to be able to kill off a pretty impressive power play for the Trojans.
Yeah, and I think that's Aguirre that's going to go for that penalty. But Wayzata's power play numbers have dipped a little bit, 21.7, but they're certainly capable. They have a lot of skill out there, but the 71.7 penalty kill for Eden Prairie kind of jumps off the page a little bit. They're looking, obviously, to improve on that number.
Face-off handled and pushed through by the Trojans. They'll take it to the corner. Poked off a stick up the right wing wall. Nice job to support there by Patterson. Left point, Hemingway opens up one of the one-timer, ready to shoot when he can get it. He gets it, shoots, and that one is blocked neatly by Keeley as he loses both wheels and goes down, but heads to the bench. Nice clear by the Eagles. 1:35 to go in the man advantage, 10:37 of the period. Trojans will walk out of the zone on the power play breakout. To the right wing they go with it. Sorensen, that's Hank Sorensen playing back in behind the net. Freitag is there. He's going to guide along. Plays back in behind. Zimmer now has some great skill to go along with the rangy body. Freitag drops down low as they're going to take it high to Lindstrand. He's a point producer. Now it's going to be Lindstrand. One hands it over from Sorensen. Gets it to Stevens. A shot. That in on goal and steered out with a blocker by Gertis. The first real test for him here tonight, just about 7 minutes into the contest. Batted down neatly with the glove by Stevens from the left point, right side. Freitag wanted to go to the slot area. That was poked away neatly there by the Eagles. Charlie Lawrence. Left point, Stevens. Oh, up high and off the arm. Nice save there by Gertis as it's played back up into center ice as it's going to be Stevens to regroup for the Trojans. 49 to go in the man advantage as the puck is sent back in wide of the cage. Snuggerud and Jack Sorensen were there. 5-on-4 continues for the Wayzata Trojans as the Eagles play ahead to Spinner as he races up ice across center. 2-on-2. A wrist shot and a save made there by Von Ahrens and steered to his left. Gathered up to the right side now. Freitag can't quite get a clean handle on it. He's going to have to regroup to Lindstrand, who stood up neatly there by Spinner. 10 to go in the man advantage. Stevens with it. He'll be watched to the corner there by the defenseman Mark Sullivan. And now it's going to be played to the left wing side. Spinner from Graham too far. Lindstrand. Ooh, that's deflected off an Eagle stick. They killed the penalty and the puck sent back in behind the net. Trojans now with Chase Heising. He's checked off the puck. And it's going to be Argetsinger that runs into a would-be checker. And it's going to be Digman to play back in behind the net. Neat check by Mark Sullivan to pinch his man off. And it's going to be Snuggerud to Spinner. Right wing, neat pass. Oh, Graham springs. Argetsinger shoots and a save and a rebound. Both of them turned aside neatly there by Von Ahrens. Now Boldenau wanted the one-timer wrister off the right point. Couldn't get it. And here come the Trojans back the other way. Up high to the right point. Now it's going to be rink wide to the neutral zone. Eagles control across the Wayzata line. They carry down low. Behind the net, losing the handle there was Keeley. And there's 3 Trojans trolling within the area. A little help down on the forecheck from Jack Sorensen as he spades that one away. Up from the left point, plays that along to Andy Aguilar, who has his attempt blocked and cleared away by the Trojans. They'll dump in deep. The foot race ensues. Duma is there, but that's spun out of there by Bolden out of the right point. Hemingway's shot hits traffic on its way through. That was Duma. And to the right wing side it goes. A shot by Lindstrand and a big save there by Gertis. Hemingway turns that to the right side, but that was read like a book. Beautiful there by Clays. Left wing side, back in behind the net. Niederer is there as he loses the handle, and it's going to be the Trojans once again to the left wing. They'll work it out of the zone. 7:28 to go in a fast-moving first period here as it's going to be Niederer to play back in behind the net. Spun off a stanchion and right back onto an Eagle stick as that was cleared by Von Ahrens, but good support. Senden is there to play that one in deep, and for the Trojans, it's Patterson on the foot race. Patterson's going to guide it in back behind the net. Patterson loses the handle. He's checked on the play, and back behind the net it goes. Snuggerud is there, guides it along. Freitag cuts off from the right side, behind for Jack Sorensen. Now it's going to be Freitag and Sorensen to the corner. They're joined by Graham and Snuggerud. Now it's going to be Freitag who wins it out of the battle. He goes down on the play. Gets a little shiver there, looking for the penalty. He's not going to get it. Had a cause for that one as it's played back into the Trojan zone. Stevens is going to regroup. Ooh, right in front of his own goal mouth. A lot of confidence there. Off the stick in the neutral zone of Chase Heising, and it's going to be played rink wide. Boy, see that number 20, I think of Al Secord every time with these jerseys. For the Eden Prairie Eagles, that, of course, is Mark Sullivan. What a compliment. Up high to the line, there's a snapper that's going to dribble to the slot. A shot and a save, and a good one there. Gertis turns it aside with the pad. Flipped up high in the air, bounding puck handled through center by Snuggerud. He's going to try to carry it through traffic, but there's going to be Stevens gets the body positioning in front of him, turns the puck over, guides it up the left wing wall. Pinching down neatly was Aguilar, and it's going to be Mark Sullivan to play back behind the net, but that's picked up a loose one there by Stevens, and it's going to be the Eagles to regroup at center. They'll play it back over the right side and through everyone in on goal. Paddle down, steer to the right side by Vaughn Ahrens. Trojans want the transition through center. 5:39 to go here, period number one. We're scoreless from the EP Community Center. Back behind that, Aguilar, outlets, right wing side. Mark Sullivan turns over, but helping out, it's Argetsinger. Gains the line, 2-on-3. That's off the equipment, blocked by Melk, and they're going to turn it up ice to the Trojans from the left wing side. That shot high over the glass. They carry him back up into center. Argetsinger now gains the line. Neat little escape, a la Gretzky. Off the wall it goes to center. It's going to be Snuggerud. Zimmer tries to pickpocket him. Couldn't get the angle. Snuggerud too strong and gets it back. Snuggerud off the glass softly. That's going to be handled neatly there by Jack Sullivan and back in behind the net. Now the Trojans up ice. That's going to be off Stendon's stick. We'll see if that's an ice. No, it's not going to make it. And Snuggerud will turn it back up out of his own zone from the left side. He gains his own line for the Eagles. Angles a pass neatly through center and a shot in on goal. A good opportunity there by the Eagles. Number 28, Jack plays up to the left point. Snuggerud tries to make a play on Freitag. A couple of D1 players doing battle there. Snuggerud to UNO. Freitag to Badgerland with the Wisconsin. In on goal and hung on to neatly there by the goaltender, Jens Vaughn Ahrens.
Well, that was about 5 minutes of nonstop action. Now it's my turn, but I don't really know what to say. But very good end-to-end action by both teams. It really started with Eden Prairie getting some residual energy off that penalty kill, but then it's been up and down, but really not many shots on goal. So both teams are challenging at the blue line. They're really not letting him get into the scoring areas. And when they do, Vaughn Ahrens came up with the save, and Gertis came up with the saves too. But really a good pace and a good flow to this game.
Well, you know, Bart, it's been a very responsible game by both these teams. Now here's a 2-on-1 back the other way for the Trojans. The chip one through for Heising, and that's covered up. No, it's not. Gertis got his hands on it. He's going to guide it over to the left wing side as the Eagles. Cole Lawrence will come down the wall. Check is thrown there by Heising as they'll stop any progression there by the Eagles and keep the puck in the zone at the hash. Lindstrand, a snapper, blocker pad save. Pulled out of the air with the left hand of Mark Sullivan as he goes to his right. The defenseman bumps it off the wall. Aguilar will have to chase it down. He's got his helmet ajar. He's got at least one strap loose. Look, actually both. He better head to the bench. And across the line, penalty coming up on Glaze, and that's going to go for tripping.
Yeah, in fact, Glaze just got his stick in the wickets of Billy Duma. Billy Duma really with it. The defenseman Aguilar going off. It left a bit of opening on the right side just inside the zone. But it's going to be Duma that drew that penalty, but it's going to be Jack Glaze that's going to go to the box for two.
Best penalty killer has to be a goaltender, Bart. As we know, goaltending is a critical part of ice hockey. As we know, like a pitcher or quarterback, without quality goaltending, a team can't endure a tough season. The team at Premier Goaltender Development mentor goalies for success and know their development can only be attained through individual approach to the position. Be sure to check out the Premier shot wide of the goal, Premier save of the game that we'll hear later on in this contest.
Very good.
Mitch Baker doing a great job over there.
We have two pretty good goalies here tonight, I'll say that.
Yes, we do. You can give Mitch a call at 651-323-0092 if you want to get your association or goaltender trained. Freitag off the right side, 4 checks. Minute 30 to go in the second man advantage for the Trojans of Wayzata. So far, no power plays to speak of for the Eagles yet here in period number 1. Freitag's going to play up for Lindstrand, who plays back Freitag to the right side. They'll work down low to the goal mouth area. Gertis, neat job from the left post. Paddle down to cover that one up. Didn't get through.
Yeah, his penalty kills are keeping us on the periphery, forcing the Trojans to work the puck around. Pretty effective on the penalty kill so far for the Eagles.
And the Trojans now with it. Lidstrand does a nice job to suck in the forecheck and play a left wing pass. Heising wanted the shot, but that was taken away. The angle at least from Aguilar. Heising will bump it off the end wall to carry him all the way up on the left wing side for Patterson. He plays back down low to the corner for Heising. Back up to Patterson. Left circle, blocker pad save. Looks like they're working on the blocker pad of Luke Gertis here tonight.
Well, in fact, during the warm-ups, he was struggling a little bit. I don't think there's a book on it necessarily. I think it's just the proximity on the ice, and that's the only thing that he's really given him.
Now it's going to be Hemingway back at his own zone for the Eagles, or the Trojans rather. 23 to go. Stretch pass to the right wing. Oh, a shot and a save. Nice right pad save there. A good opportunity there for Mahout. Here come the Eagles back up through center. It's going to be handled there by Snuggerud. His shot is high off the glass. And to the corner it goes, but back out come the Trojans with 2 to go in the man advantage. We will see Clay step on the ice right now with $1:35 to go. We're scoreless here in period number 1. Right wing or left wing side, rather, Snuggerud skates into this one. Waits for some help, and he had Spinner trolling through the goal mouth area on the chip pass. Now it's going to be Sullivan with a shot that's blocked through center, and a foot race ensues. Mark Sullivan watches as Zimmer, who can fly, makes a move off the side of the goal mouth area. Gets it in on goal, but can't put it home as the Eagles are there to cover up and play to the left wing side for Jack Keeley. At the Trojan line, that's stopped neatly there with 1 minute remaining here in the period. From the right wing side, nice pass for Sorensen as they went through a set of wickets there. Duma with a nice little touch pass to create a scoring chance for Sorensen. Back in behind the net it goes. It's going to be handled now by the Eagles as they're going to work it from the left wing side off the glass. That one's going to be too far for Cole Lawrence as it's played back in behind the net. The Eden Prairie Eagles will shuffle it up to the left wing side. Lindstrand shot hits traffic. Dingman on the forecheck shivers Lawrence with a neat little shoulder there and forces a turnover for Heising with 23 to go in the period. Now it's Stevens at center from the right side. On the backhand, plays it rink wide to his partner Lindstrand. Clears it to an open wing on the right side. Aguilar bumps it off the wall and sends it right back into the Trojan zone. No ice on the play with 8 to go in the period. Plays with a thundering check off the end wall. Dingman covers up to the left corner. He stood up on the play by Niederer. Puck goes back in behind the net, and that ends a very entertaining first period.
Yeah, no question about it. I think both teams really struggle to get between the dots in the offensive zone, but they're minding their defensive responsibilities. If Wayzata comes down in transition, there's 3 Eden Prairie Eagles to meet them at the blue line, and that means they're minding their defensive zone first. I think Eden Prairie has to feel extremely good about the way that they played this period. They had some offensive looks, some offensive zone time, but they defended quite well. I think Wayzata's just playing Wayzata's game. They're drifting a little bit, getting a little more out of position, but I think they're looking for that magic chemistry to actually put more pressure on Eden Prairie. I don't think they had their best period, but they didn't play poorly. I look forward to a really solid second period, Pete Wagner.
We take a timeout. No score here after 1 period from the Eden Prairie Community Center. The Trojans and the Eagles. You're listening to high school hockey on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results of PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
I think I have the window seat.
You better double check that, my friend. Don't think we don't know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's not it. You're that State Farm discount double check guy. Discount double check. Thanks to the hundreds you saved us, we could upgrade the grill class.
Grill class?
Your tongs are in your seat back.
Save with the discount double check today. Get to a better state. State Farm.
Guys, this is my cousin Raj.
Hey, boys, I just saved a ton of cash with my State Farm discount double check. So the brats are on me. Oh, jeez. Crazy dream.
Easy. You're going to wreck Bob's dream. By the way, how's that sausage pillow? Delicious, good stick.
Save with the discount double check today. Get to a better state. State Farm.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
Ellie Johnson of Healthy Training has a special plan to get you back in shape.
What kind of separates us from a lot of other facilities is that your initial appointment is free. You get to come in, sit down, have that one-on-one appointment with a personal trainer, and we do a complimentary consultation. So we sit down with you and assess your goals, what you're trying to achieve, where you are at now, where you want to be. And then we're able to do a baseline assessment where we get your body fat, your measurements, we do some strength and flexibility tests. We gather all that knowledge, and then you know the program is created specifically and individually for you and not for anyone else.
Located south of 62 on Edenvale Boulevard, online at healthy-training.com.
And welcome back to the first intermission here at the Eden Prairie Community Center. Brett Johnson joining you here during the between-period stoppage here on PSB Media. Of course, this game also can be heard on 105.7 The Ticket here in the Twin Cities area. Been an entertaining game so far between Wayzata and Eden Prairie. A lot of up and down action. Taking a look at some statistics from the first period. Shots on goal were 9-5 in favor of the Eagles over the Trojans. In terms of special teams, we did have just 2 power plays in the first period. Both were for Wayzata, and they, of course, failed to score on both attempts as we are scoreless here at the end of one from the EP Community Center, as it's been an entertaining game so far. Hopefully you're having a good time watching it here on this Thursday evening between 2 very talented teams in the Lake Conference and also in Section 6. While we have a moment, I'd like to remind you that our game tonight is brought to you by the Mulch Store. Even though it's cold outside, not too early to start making those springtime needs, the Mulch Store has the best compost you'll find in the entire Midwest. Make your neighbors green with envy, and really check it out. It'll make your lawn look great once we warm up in April, or maybe May, depending on how late spring is. Hopefully it won't be too late this spring. Either way, though, the Mulch Store can be found online, mulchstoremn.com, mulchstoremn.com. And you can find their brick-and-mortar locations located throughout the metro area on the mulchstoremn.com website. Also, you can watch several Eden Prairie boys hockey games this winter at the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. So stop by, get some great food. Personal favorites are the cheesy tater tots, but got a lot of great burgers and great pizzas over at the Tavern on 4 and 5. So get some great food and also watch EP Boys Hockey on the big screen TV as they're showing our broadcasts at the Tavern on 4 and 5. And also like to remind you that coming up on Saturday, it is the Empty Bowls fundraiser taking place at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie. If you're not familiar with Props Empty Bowls fundraiser, it's basically a way to raise money for those who are struggling with their food needs. It's no cost to attend. They do accept free will donations at the door. You can enjoy a very simple meal, kind of in spirit of that, of bread and soup, and also take home a handmade ceramic bowl. Very cool fundraiser. Really make sure you check it out. It's this Saturday at CMS in Eden Prairie, taking place from 11 until 2:30. So now that we got that house cleaning out of the way, we'll take one more time out, and when we come back, we'll take a look at some out-of-town scores. You're listening to Boys High School Hockey right here on PSB Media.
I wish it was spring.
Hello, Carl.
Whoa, who are you?
I'm the Mulch Store Genie.
Well, your entrance music makes you sound like an alien.
We Mulch Store Genies survive on grass and compost, not snow and ice.
If you're a genie, where's your lamp?
Mulch Store Genies live... Never mind you. Let's get to the point. You had a wish for me, Carl.
Yeah, I wished it would be spring.
Your wish is my command.
Sweet, this is much better. Wow, my lawn looks great too.
Indeed, Carl. That's the power of the Mulch Store Genius.
Thanks.
Tell your friends of my mulching powers.
The Mulch Store, granting beautiful lawn and landscaping wishes since 2000. Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
I'm Dr. Dennis Linslink, Clinic Administrator and Patient Care Coordinator for Avocare Clinics. And I'd like to welcome you to our office. Advocare Clinics is considered an outpatient rehabilitation facility. We're pretty much one-stop shop. We offer wellness and prevention as well as acute pain and injury management. We have 3 distinct departments in Advocare. We have a physical therapy department, a chiropractic, wellness and prevention and acupuncture department, and a medical procedure department. And the unique characteristic is how we combine those therapies. Our goal is to prevent surgeries or conditions getting worse. So one of our specialties is knee, hip, ankle, shoulder problems, where people are considering surgery. Many times we can then provide care that'll buy them 5 to 10 years of ongoing function with their original equipment, their own joints and shoulders. Our patients tell us that they like the attention to detail that we deliver in our therapies. Most of our patients give us a 7+ score on a 1 to 10 scale, which means we're meeting a good amount of patient satisfaction based on your scores. Advocare's mission is to provide you a full and active lifestyle to the limits that you want, not what your body gives you.
Advocare Clinics, located off 494 and Highway 100, online at advocaremn.com. Gather your friends and family for a humble meal of soup and bread and help support our neighbors in need at the same time. It's the Prop Empty Bowls event taking place Saturday, January 18th from 11 until 2:30 at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie. You can take home a one-of-a-kind hand-painted ceramic bowl as a reminder of the empty bowls in our community and also raise money to help fight hunger in the community. Goodwill donations will be accepted at the door and there's no set fee to attend. Plus, there will also be great local entertainment provided by the After 5 Women's Vocal Ensemble. Again, that's the Prop Empty Bowls event taking place Saturday, January 18th from 11 until 2:30 at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie. Sponsored by the Pulte Group, the Minnesota Vikings, and Cheryl Eastbourne of Edina Realty. To learn more, go to propfood.org. And we're back here at the Eden Prairie Community Center getting ready for the start of the second period in just a few minutes. Let's take a look at some out-of-town scores. A lot of games taking place, and one of the highlights this evening is a private school matchup between a AA Power and a single A Power. It's Benilde St. Margaret's versus Blake taking place at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. And Benilde now has a 4-2 lead over the Blake Bears at the end of the first period in that one. Other scores, how about this one? I know Pete Wagner, the play-by-play announcer, will be happy. Hopkins leads Minnetonka 3-1 at the end of the first period in that one. We also have Princeton over Monticello 1-0. Tartan over North St. Paul, or actually make that South St. Paul 1-0. Other scores, Elk River up on Champlain Park 3-0. Grand Rapids leads Hibbing 1-0. Hillmary's up on top of White Bear Lake 1-0. We also have one more score, Holy Angels and Chanhassen. They're scoreless as they're just getting that one underway. So look at some out-of-town scores. Again, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter. We're at PSBMN. Or you can email us here during the broadcast booth, or during the broadcast, in the broadcast booth. We're at psbchannel2@gmail.com, psbchannel2@gmail.com. As we'll try to read your messages on air. I'll try to pass it along to the guys if you get any messages during the game. Otherwise, I'll try to read those during the second intermission and coming up during the post-game show. Again, we're scoreless here in the first intermission. Very entertaining game between Wayzata and Eden Prairie. Lots of up and down action, so make sure you stay tuned. We will have the second period on the way in just a few minutes. You are listening to PSP's coverage of boys high school hockey as it's EP and Wayzata scoreless after one.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
Jeepers, it's the creeper! What do we do now?
It's a mystery.
I know. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zoinks! It's Lucy, like our favorite State Farm agent lady.
Hi, gang. I'll handle it. And that's not really a monster.
Creeper! Say hey!
Mr. Carswell!
You meddling kids.
State Farm takes the mystery out of dealing with insurance. Get to a groovier state.
Ray, why aren't you eating?
Like these insurance bills are so high, I've lost my appetite. I am freaking out.
Mysteriously high rates can be stressful. Switch to State Farm for discounts up to 40%. Get to a groovier state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com.
The sound of a satisfying meal. More than 200,000 people in the Twin Cities don't have enough access to food. Now's your chance to do something. Share a simple meal of soup and bread to help raise money to fight hunger locally. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Join supporters like yourself for Prop's 4th annual fundraiser. On top of breaking bread, collect a one-of-a-kind hand-painted ceramic bowl. Enjoy entertainment by After 5 Women's Vocal Ensemble and other local musicians. And fight to keep your neighbors fed. Sponsored by Pulte Group, the Minnesota Vikings, and Cheryl Eastbourne of Edina Realty, it's the Props 4th Annual Fundraiser. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. till 2:30 at Eden Prairie Central Middle School. To learn more, go to propfood.org.
There are many ways to get fit at Healthy Training. Ellie Johnson spills some of those secrets.
When you're here, you're working with a personal trainer. It's a one-on-one environment. You know that program is customized to you so that you can achieve your goals and concentrating on the exercises you're doing without having to worry about the hustle and bustle of what's going on in the gym. We offer group personal training too, so you can come in, we've got a mother and daughter that come in, or a husband and wife that join together for a session, which is a great option. But we also have our group fitness classes. So we offer our boot camp classes, we've got Zumba classes, and we also have a yoga class. So the kind of differences between those is just like our personal training, we want to customize it to the individual. So we keep the class sizes small. Our instructors are certified personal trainers. You can be spending as little as $60 a month, upwards of a few hundred if you really need that individual guidance for most of your workouts. But very, very cost comparative to a lot of the other kind of bigger box places around the area.
Located south of 62 on Edenvale Boulevard, online at healthy-training.com.
defense. And Steven shoots over the top of the goal and off the netting. What an opportunity there by Spinner. How about the wheels?
Well, not only the wheels, but the eye-hand coordination in his own blue line. He knocked the puck out of his air and knocked to the head with a stick and got past a very swift Alex Stevens on that one, went in unabated and got a good shot off. Got a really good look at Von Ahrens. Von Ahrens came out to challenge, ramped up off his shoulder on a play. Face-off is going to be deep in the Wayzata zone, but boy, Steven Spinner's a talented kid. He's very difficult to defend against. Alex Stevens struggles. You know that there's some skill on that Eagles team.
Dean Blaze doesn't miss on many players.
No.
Now it's Snuggerud, plays it over for Spinner. Power play for the Eagles. The special teams war is underway here. It's about that. It's starting to feel anyway so far. The Trojans are 0 for 2 with their man advantages, and as we mentioned a moment ago, this will be the first power play for the Eagles.
Yes, indeed. In fact, the Eagles, they're hovering around 18.2, but they have a lot of talent, a lot of skill. They just have to get the puck in, work it around, get that open shot.
Graham cuts to the forehand from the high slot over the top of the goal, steered away by Von Ahrens. Spinner from his office from the left side. Behind the net, Graham tried to stuff that up high on the short side, didn't go. As the Karam comes over to the far wall from the left side, sent back into the Eagle zone. Curtis plays ahead neatly there for Snuggerud. Snuggerud walks the line, pulls it to the right side. Stood up by Lindstrand, rung hard on the wall there by Jake Melk, and it's going to be played to the left side, or right side rather, for Snuggerud as he takes some ice from the left side. Does such a nice job moving from left to right while still moving. Shoots that puck in on goal. Von Ahrens with a good angle makes the save and hangs on.
And it's lucky that Michael Graham was waiting in the wings, but Jake Moak did a nice job of blocking him out, allowing his goaltender to see that. But boy, Snuggerud is so smooth, and he has such a clean stride breaking into the zone. But again, Eden Prairie, they don't need necessarily to score, but they need to continue this positive energy that they have going on.
Ooh. Down goes the official. And that one goes in on goal, and no goal as he was scraping himself off the ice. And the net is off its post. My goodness, Bart Archer wasn't doing a play on the ice, but the official.
Well, they went for a hip check, and he missed the actual Wayzata forward. I think it was Hank Sorensen, but I'm not sure about that. But actually drove the referee into the wall, but he's up. They're pretty tough out there, Pete, those guys in the stripes. But again, a trying moment. Gertis once again down on the ice while Wayzata's attacking, but Eden Prairie has to block out a little bit better. Wayzata, pretty good scoring opportunity shorthanded. Face off outside the Eden Prairie zone.
Yeah, they're going to say the Trojans went a little overzealous to the goal mouth area there.
I think there are many people that might agree with that.
We're at the 5-minute mark here, period number 2. It's scoreless. Eagles on the power play for another 44 seconds. From the right side, it's going to be sent back in by Hemingway. Shoe will come up, play that one back in behind the net. Aguilar will guide it off the wall and carry it up left side. Gives back to Shoe. He'll angle to the left, cross the checkered, plays that one back in behind the net. Von Ahrens tries to guide it along, kind of whiffed as Healy plays back for Clays. Had a tough time in the feet there, but then it's going to be Aguilar, Shoe to the right side. Shoe's going to guide that off the right wing boards. Keeley up for Aguilar, fan on that one. A lot of whiffs going on out here. Pitchers and catchers don't report for another few weeks.
Got to keep your head up.
Back into the corner they go. It's going to be handled by the Eagles. Turning and firing. That hits Clays on its way in. That was Jack Sullivan, the Trojans, at full strength. Now it's Shoe, 5-on-5, top of the right circle, trying to push that one through. That was off the skates of Hank Sorensen, and it's going to be the Trojans from the left wing side. On the tape, neatly out of the zone with Duma. He doesn't have anywhere to go but to play that one in deep. Trojans go wholesale on the change, and the forecheck ensues with Senden. But the Eagles doing a nice job handling the pressure here, Bart Archer, getting into the weak side and getting the zone, and a big check at center ice. That was Freitag throwing some leather there on Sullivan. Terrific angle, hip check off the boards. Another check thrown now. The Trojans returning the favor with the finish. The Eagles are trying to get their guys to the boards with the long changes here in the second period. Icing as that one's off the stick of Senden. What a contest we have here tonight.
Oh, absolutely, and it's starting to ramp up every shift. The physical part of the game is starting to pick up a little bit. Not a lot of space out there, but you said a lot of whiffs and a lot of missed passes. You have to have your head up and on a swivel in this game tonight. But Wayzata doing a pretty good job of defending against Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie showed good patience on that power play, Pete. They didn't give many chances, but pretty good patience and puck movement.
Snuggerud from the left side plays that one through. Left side, Spinner. That one goes up in the air to the corner. It goes. And it's going to be Spinner bothered on the play. Swatted up to the left point. And they're going to go wide of the cage. It's going to be Lindstrand to the right wing side. On the stick for Duma. Left wing handled by Zimmer. Now it's Mahout that was there as the puck harmlessly trickles in on goal. And it was handled there by Gertis.
Well, you're right, Pete. It is amping up, but again, there's a little bit more space out there. They're able to work the puck, and both teams are doing a good job of using, instead of skating the puck up, which is really the slowest way to bring the puck up the ice, they're headmanning the puck and they're skating their lanes, and that really kind of shows a quick pace. But if you're by the bench, it's better to get off early than late because it's tough to defend with tired legs.
And think is that, the legs and the mind, they all kind of go together as one. Boldenau from the Eden Prairie net as he plays that one through. Boldenau again. Cycles back in behind the net for Mark Sullivan, who helps it up along the right wing boards. Argetsinger has a man. Keeley had to reach back. Hemingway was there with the stick, and the carom off the end wall harmlessly lands on the stick of Dingman, who plays ahead through center on it. Now it's going to be handled by Patterson. His shot is steered aside neatly there from the right side of the cage by Gertis, and out of the zone come the Eagles. Neat little angle pass there by Jack Sorensen, or he received that rather, and now it's going to be Freitag helping it ahead. Dingman now takes the pass from the left wing off his skates, loses the handle, and Spindler plays that one back in and offside the call.
Boy, it looks like Wayzata's just on the cusp of really trying to make something happen, but Mark Sullivan, the junior defender for Eden Prairie, really played a solid shift on that one, forcing at the blue line, playing good angles, and really forcing them to try to play a bit of a jump and chase. Faceoff is outside the Eden Prairie zone on the right wing side. Just under 9 minutes, 8:59 left in the second period. We're still scoreless.
.50 puck there, now controlled by the Eagles back in their own zone with Charlie Lawrence. Gives back to his partner on the blue line, and Snuggerud, who plays up along the left wing wall for Niederer. At center ice they go. Clays plays it left wing side. Foot race ensues. Parrish was there. Oh, and Clays just absolutely, he's a big, strong kid. Finished his man with authority. Now it's Freitag. Out of the zone, left wing side they go. That's off the stick of Sendon. Loses the handle. Wasn't happy with himself there. Lawrence. Headman's right wing side. Parrish across the Trojan line. Defended neatly there. Boy, this is a one-mistake hockey game, folks, the way they're playing this one defensively. At the line, it's pushed back in behind the Eagles zone. Behind the net with Gertis looking on, the Eden Prairie netminder. Looking to backhand that one off the short side of the cage was Sendon. Couldn't get it done. He's going to waddle to the bench looking awfully fatigued. Now Snuggerud, his team's leading scorer, through center ice. Snuggerud cuts to his left side, but he's watched neatly by Hank Sorensen. Checked on the wall, and Sorensen fishes the puck out. Nice little play there, up off an Eagle player. Interesting, Bart, the Fire Wagon open hockey here. Both teams have really shut that version of the game down here in the second period.
Indeed, and that's why you get guys like Luke Snuggerud from the back side that's actually bringing the puck up, changing the dynamic of their attack, and really forcing Wayzata back on their heels a little bit. He got in deep, but he got rung pretty good by Hank Sorensen, and that one puck out of play just outside the Wayzata zone. 7:43 left, scoreless second period.
Face off at center ice as it's played across the checkered line, wide of the cage. On the play there was Von Ahrens, and it's played back in behind the net. Graham is there in to help out, on the forecheck was Lawrence. 2-on-2 battle left side of Jens Von Ahrens, the Wayzata Trojan goaltender. Left wing to neutral, stood up on the plate. Duma with no real estate. Boy, it's a tough spot to be an agent right now, isn't it, Mart Archer? Nothing's for sale.
That's right.
And Spinner turns and fires a heavy shot wide of the cage. Forecheck continues Eden Prairie Eagles putting on all sorts of pressure here. Spinner races up at center, says no way. Is Max Zimmer going to gain our zone? Checks him off the puck, takes it away, sends a weak side pass. Graham stood up by Mahout as he covers up neatly. Spinner's a house of fire. Shot save. Rebound! Oh, what a great chance there. The Eden Prairie Eagles all over on that one as that one sent the length of the ice. What a shift by the Eden Prairie Eagles. Most notably, Steven Spinner.
Yeah, Steven Spinner seems to have that Velcro on his stick, but not just Steven Spinner, but the defense of the Eden Prairie Eagle team. The most important part to me is they aren't leaving the zone too early. They're staying and pressuring, and pacing is very, very important. But if you can hang at that blue line and maintain possession, Eden Prairie having some people down low, they're putting pressure on Van Aarons. They haven't got between the dots, but they're dangerously close.
Got an update for you. The Minnetonka Skippers score on the power play to make that one 3-2 with under 5 minutes left in the second period. My source sent that to me, another fellow Hopkins Royals parent. I said, you know what, they need to score 2 more to get that one.
Yeah, you can't quit against Minnetonka. Minnetonka might not be having the banner year that we're used to, but they're certainly capable hockey team.
One of the most difficult places to win in high school hockey. Single digits, probably under 5 games have been won by teams in that building over the past 5-6 years.
Doesn't happen often.
No kidding. At center ice, that's off Lindstrand at center ice. Plays, takes a swing at that one, pokes that one through. Lindstrand is there, plays it rink wide. On it for the Eagles now, it's the Trojans through center. Heising is stood up, it stays on the puck. Fine skating left winger. Now it's Dingman in front. Oh, what a save by Curtis. Gets the big catch glove out and keeps it scoreless.
Yeah, it was really nice play by Heising to gain the zone. He just tucked the puck past at the attacking blue line. Went in on the left side, got the puck. I think it was Patterson that actually kind of finished that play off, but it was a good play by Curtis to actually anticipate that puck coming into the slot and really cut that pass off. Face off to his right, 5:52 left in the scoreless second period.
Hank Sorensen walks down from the left point to make the play. Puck goes through everyone at center. No ice on the play. It's a freebie back into the Wayzata zone. Von Aarons is going to take the big goal stick and shovel it along the left wing wall. It was Argensinger there to make the play for the Eagles, and sending it back in is Aguilar for Eden Prairie. Back in behind his own net. Jake Milk with it. Plays it to center. Aguilar is going to have to hurry. The smooth skating send-in was right there for the Trojans. They pile up off the end wall, right side of the cage, as Gertis has both the mitts up, kind of like that Frankenstein look these goaltenders are using, as they'll play it up to the line. I was always taught to have my stick on the ice, but they're all doing it. To the right wing side, deflection and a big save there. Nice one by Von Aarons. Throws the right pillow. Boy, I'm sure Mitch Baker and our new sponsor, Premier Goaltender Development, has to be excited about this one. The goalies are looking good. Don't forget, we're going to have the save of the game for you at the end of this one.
And I think we're going to have plenty to choose from the way this game is unfolding.
Well, how about the Let's Play Hockey player of the game? Where are we going to go with that one?
Well, it remains to be seen.
Left wing side, Zimmer shots deflected. Lindstrand leans into that one. Oh, and that hits Sullivan up high and just finds the cage. That was Zimmer bidding there for the Wayzata Trojans. Guided up in the air, back through center ice, handled by Hemingway momentarily. Spinner comes away as he's going to play it back into the corner. Spinner with it. Ooh, neat little through the legs pass to the corner as he brought the cycle package to the corner. Spinner with Graham. That gets through everyone and back into the Eden Prairie zone. Now it's going to be Curtis to set up. Someone said there's plenty of time. I've never liked that because guys let up. Right wing side it goes, and then the time goes away. Shue with a drop pass. Lawrence shots blocked by Hemingway to the corner. Off the left side with the stick of the goaltender Von Aarons, and back out of the zone come the Trojans through center. Ooh, they had Zimmer there momentarily. Hemingway plays back for Stevens. Chips a pass to center. That one too far for Duma. No ice on the play. Curtis will guide it along the left wing wall at the hash. Shue didn't like what he had. There were 3 Trojans there. Neat play there to tuck it back in behind for the smooth skating Luke Snuggerud, right wing on the breakout. Lawrence looked to have Graham, who had the stick waggling about waist high, and missed the pass. Played back in behind the net. Dingman is there, and it's going to be Snuggerud to play back up to the right wing wall. Down to the corner it goes. Snuggerud again. Guides it along to Spinner, who's there. He looks up ice, bumps it off the wall. That one's going to go for an icing. Oh, my word. We're at the 14-minute mark. This is not for the faint of heart. We're scoreless so far through this.
In fact, I think they just iced that to get some fresh legs out. It looked like a couple of them, as you say, gassed. Just 3 minutes left in a scoreless second period. I'm sure both teams are going to have to mind their defensive responsibilities, but as up and down as it's been, nobody's really got between the hash marks to really get the good shots, so both teams defending quite well, but the pace of the game is maintaining. It's a tough pace to keep up with, but you miss a stride, you give them an opportunity, and that could be the defining moment in this game.
Through center ice it goes. It's going to be played back on the stick now for the Eagles with Jack Sullivan. Shoveled back up the right wing wall by the Eagles at the Trojan line. They backhand that one in deep. That was Keeley on the play. Argensinger puts the pressure and icing the call. High school hockey continues on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket. Bart Archer, and this is a great chess match we have here from the community center.
Yeah, it really is. And Matthew Freitag, one of the premier players in high school hockey, got rid of that puck in a hurry, but that's because the Eden Prairie defenders are on him so quickly. I don't think he wanted to take an ice in that, but he just didn't want to give up the puck in the offensive zone. Eden Prairie's doing a good job of congesting the passing lanes and really frustrating Wayzata a little bit.
Now it's Lindstrand with it. 2:35 to go in the period. Zimmer up at center. Cut off neatly there by Mark Sullivan. Lindstrand wearing that Jonathan Taves like number 19. Had to go there. Gets it back to Sullivan. Off his stick, there's Zimmer turning it up ice. Shovels a right wing pass, handled neatly there by Duma. Now Zimmer gets it back off the give and go. He couldn't quite get the handle as he pushes that one wide of the cage, hard off the end wall. Back up ice come the Eagles with Niederer. He's going to handle that one ahead neatly for Sullivan, who had nowhere to go but the shovel into the corner. Lindstrand gets the big stick on that. Behind the net it goes, swung up to the left wing wall. A check thrown there by the Eagles, but they'll take over possession with energy across the line. The big, strong plays with a shot in on goal. Handled neatly there by Dingman.
Yeah, it was actually just inside the blue line by a couple strides. A right-handed shot on the left side. Pretty good shot by Clays, but Dingman down on his pillows made that glove save look pretty easy. Faced off to his right. 1:48 left in the scoreless second period. I think the book on Von Ahrens, because he goes down quite often, it really takes away the high percentage shot, is go high, go high, go high. You just have to get those shots on goal.
Could be some history in the making at the Pagel Activity Center. It's now 4-2 at the end of 2. Hopkins over Minnetonka. Shot it on goal, steered wide. And all that Hopkins program is yearning for the days of the 23-win season back with Travis Boyd, Archie Skalbeck, and the man known as the Fonz. Big checks thrown there. What kind of board system do we have here at the EP Community Center? You're going Luganis on the diving board, and I'm not going to really argue on that.
Well, I can't think of another diver. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad to know you're versed. Behind the net it goes. It's Shue with it. Plays it to the right wing side. Lawrence plays ahead for Graham. Now spinner off the backhand from the left wing. Has Shue down front. Oh, the puck was going from right to left. But there was Von Ahrens with the big pillows down on the ice, icing the call with 1 minute left.
Yeah, that was a nice redirect by Eden Prairie, but Von Ahrens, I don't think he really saw the redirect. He was just moving side to side, caught his pad. But that's when you're playing good position as a goalie. You can make those saves very, very quickly. But Von Ahrens has actually bailed his team out a couple different times on this. A little skittish from the Trojans, but a lot of confidence on the Eden Prairie side right now. Just under a minute to go in the second period. We're still scoreless.
And you know me, I like the pitching battle, defensive, dramatic tussles.
As long as it's got a good pace and we have that going on.
Heising plays it. Yeah, of course, the clutch and grab version we are not big fans of.
And because you brought it up, every time you see Argensinger's number, I think of Kurt Frazier from the Blackhawks back in the day. Former North Star as well.
Number 8. Yeah, that was disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Kurt Frazier played about 16 games, and he had some rare blood disorder that strikes about 1 in 50 million people, and he's done. And they've got their captain for like 8 years, and Dirk Graham. Lovely. Yeah. Right wing side, handled by the Eagles. A shot in on goal, and a nice save made there. Losing his angle was Jack Sullivan a little bit. He looked in and then was forced out wide, and didn't really get the opportunity in his shoulders at the cage that he wanted to.
No, he's a little disappointed. He had initially a pretty good look, but as you said, he skated out of his angle on that one. Had a pretty good shot on goal, but Von Ahrens made it look pretty easy just outside the blue. Caught that, received it, held on to a 39.7 offensive zone faceoff for the Eden Prairie Eagles squad. They've had some pretty good success, but very important time of this contest right now, waning moments of the second period of a scoreless game.
You know, Eden Prairie, we mentioned between periods or at the start of this one, 23 goals scored. This has been by far their most productive goal-scoring period of the season, although they've allowed 16 against as well, Bart. So it's been one of those things where you expected something to give here, and instead the level of play between these two teams defensively in the chess match has been impressive. Edge the Eagles, though, with the chances in the offensive zone time. Icing the call on the Eagles. We bring it back.
Boy, it looked like Cole Lawrence, the Eden Prairie Eagles, was going to catch up to that puck, but it just trickled over the goal line. Now 13.7 left. Wayzata gets a chance with an offensive zone faceoff. Boy, kind of a trying moment right now, but if this second period is amped up from the first period, I can only imagine what the third period has in store, Pete Wagner.
More. What do you say to that?
I don't know.
It's rare. You just stop me in my tracks. Off the face-off, it's the Trojans that play that wide of the cage, and the Eagles will shovel to center with 5 to go in the period, and they're going to say hand pass. Ooh, big one there. That's on the Trojans. We bring it into their zone for the last face-off, potentially here of this stanza.
Yeah, in fact, and there's plenty of time for Eden Prairie to actually possess the puck, move it around, and get a good look. But Wayzata, if they win the puck, they just want the 4.2 seconds to tick off, so they'll probably go behind their own goal and try to possess the puck along the wall. But very important face-off right now.
Graham will take it against Mahout. You know, Brian Mahout goes out on all the big face-offs for the Trojans. Wins the battle, pulls it to the corner to the right side of Von Ahrens, and you can see why right there.
Yeah, Brian Mahout is a player that we've been calling his name for many years, and he just brings so many different elements to this Wayzata team. Very shifty, very quick, but you're right. Coach O'Leary has a lot of faith in him to put him into a responsible role and know what he's going to get. So that's all you can ask for as a coach, is to get a predictable player that you have confidence in.
We have solved nothing through 34 minutes of play. We'll come back with a summary of what's happened here at the Eden Prairie Community Center. It's the Eagles nothing, the Trojans nothing. High school hockey on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
The sound of a satisfying meal. More than 200,000 people in the Twin Cities don't have enough access to food. Now's your chance to do something. Share a simple meal of soup and bread to help raise money to fight hunger locally. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Join supporters like yourself for Prop's 4th annual fundraiser. On top of breaking bread, collect a one-of-a-kind hand-painted ceramic bowl. Enjoy entertainment by After 5 Women's Vocal Ensemble and other local musicians. And fight to keep your neighbors fed. Sponsored by Pulte Group, the Minnesota Vikings, and Cheryl Eastbourne of Edina Realty, it's the Props 4th Annual Fundraiser. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. till 2:30 at Eden Prairie Central Middle School. To learn more, go to propfood.org.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials, or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Ellie Johnson of Healthy Training has a special plan to get you back in shape.
What kind of separates us from a lot of other facilities is that your initial appointment is free. You get to come in, sit down, have that one-on-one appointment with a personal trainer, and we do a complimentary consultation. So we sit down with you and assess your goals, what you're trying to achieve, where you are at now, where you want to be. And then we're able to do a baseline assessment where we get your body fat, your measurements, we do some strength and flexibility tests. We gather all that knowledge, and then you know the program is created specifically and individually for you and not for anyone else.
Located south of 62 on Edenvale Boulevard, online at healthy-training.com.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results at PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Welcome back here to the Eden Prairie Community Center. We're at the second intermission, as still knotted up at 0 between Wayzata and Eden Prairie. Been a good game so far. Had very much of an up and down kind of first period, and much more of a defensive style in that second period between the Trojans and the Eagles, as both teams searching for their first Lake Conference victory here on opening night for conference play. Not a whole lot of numbers to run down for you since we're still scoreless. Looking at shots on goal for the second period, they were 12-7 in favor of Eden Prairie over Wayzata. For the game, the Eagles out shooting the Trojans by a 21-17 margin, as both goaltenders, Gertis and Ahrens, have stopped all the shots that they have faced. Did have one power play in the second period. It was for Eden Prairie. They, of course, didn't score. So for the game, Eden Prairie 0 for 1 with a man advantage, and Wayzata sitting at 0 for 2 as they had a couple of first period chances, but they, of course, failed to score themselves. So that's where we stand at 0-0 at the end of 2. That should be an exciting third period on the way. As Pete and Bart were saying, kind of feels like one of those games where the first mistake could be the one that ends up costing whoever makes it. It doesn't feel like we're going to have a whole lot of goals in that third period, if any, with the way both teams really clamp down and play good defense here in period number 2. I'd like to pass along that our broadcast tonight is brought to you by Performance Therapy Innovations. Dr. Grant Norland has a state-of-the-art golf facility located in the Golden Triangle. Has 3D analysis that he can do on your golf swings, which is really a good thing to do during the winter months when you, of course, can't go out in the course and play. Get your golf swing fine-tuned. They'll get you hooked up to all these sensors. Kind of looks like I saw someone get hooked up to one of those things. It looks like when they hook up some of those players to like sensors for video. I'm not explaining it very well. Anyways, though, if you see like when they hook up NFL players to those different sensors and try to get their motions for the John Madden video games, it's similar to that, where he hooks you up to all those different things and really will get a good way to analyze your swing. Again, Performance Therapy Innovations, athletespti.com, athletespti.com. Check it out. Dr. Grant Norland does a great job over there. Also tonight, our broadcast is brought to you by Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, local connection at a lower cost. She's locally involved in the community, and she's working for you, not the insurance company. Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier, her State Farm Insurance Office, located near Eden Prairie Community Center. Take another time out and give you a rundown of some out-of-town scores, including a surprising result over at the Pagel Activity Center. Now that's coming up next right here on PSB Media.
Jeepers, it's the creeper!
What do we do now?
It's a mystery.
I know. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zoink! thanks. It's Lucy, like our favorite State Farm agent lady.
Hi, gang. I'll handle it. And that's not really a monster.
Creeper! Say hey!
Mr. Carswell?
You meddling kids.
State Farm takes the mystery out of dealing with insurance. Get to a groovier state.
Ray, why aren't you eating?
Like these insurance bills are so high, I've lost my appetite. I am freaking out.
Mysteriously high rates can be stressful. Switch to State Farm for discounts up to 40%. Get to a groovier state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com. Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results at PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results.
And we're back here at the EP Community Center, second intermission, as currently the Eagles out to a scoreless game here against Wayzata on PSBMN.com, getting the Hockey Hub app refreshed and taking a look at some out-of-town scores. One game has gone final so far. Duluth East with a very close victory over Apple Valley, 2-1. Sure, that's a closer game than a lot of people expected over there at the Apple Valley Ice Arena. Let's take a look at some other scores. Again, just do a refresh here on the screen, as I know we do have some different updates to pass along to you. Also have Benilde St. Margaret's out to a 6-2 lead over Blake. They're just starting the third period in that game. Hopkins looking to snap a long losing streak in the Lake Conference. They lead Minnetonka 4-2 at the end of two periods. Be a big upset at the Pale Activity Center. That's a tough place to win. Not too many teams have won there since that place has opened up. Other scores, Tartan leads South St. Paul 5-0 at the end of two periods. We also have St. Cloud Apollo over Little Falls 2-0, just beginning the third period in a Class A matchup. Other scores, Elk Rivers up on Champlin Park 4-1. There's 5 minutes left in the second period in that game. Big rivalry game is taking place at Aldrich Ice Arena, Hill Murray and White Bear Lake. And boy, how often have we said this when it's Hill Murray versus White Bear Lake? A tie game with just a few minutes left in the second period. Seems like every time those two teams meet, it always goes to overtime or ends up being a one-goal finish. And tonight looking like no exception with Hill Murray playing White Bear Lake. Also have Mounds View and Park Cottage Grove scoreless starting the second period. Chanhassen up on Holy Angels 2-0 in the second. And Matamidi with a 2-1 lead over North St. Paul in the second period as well. That's a look of out-of-town scores for you here on PSB. I'd like to remind you, coming up on Saturday, it's the Empty Bowls fundraiser taking place at Central Middle School in Eden Prairie, being sponsored by the Prop Food Shelf. Definitely check it out. Great way to raise money for the hungry here in the area. Accept Goodwill donations. There's no fee to attend. You can enjoy a very humble meal of soup and bread. Get a lot of great local entertainment, including a beautiful women's vocal ensemble. A lot of these ladies have beautiful voices. It's called After 5. They'll be performing, so check it out. You can also take home a handmade ceramic bowl. And again, they're accepting Goodwill donations. A great way to fundraise and help people in need in the community that are having some trouble getting food on the table. Again, the Empty Bowls event takes place Saturday from 11 until 2:30 at CMS in Eden Prairie. Take one more time out, and when we come back, third period is on the way. You're listening to High School Hockey here on PSBMN.com.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
I'm Dr. Dennis Lenslink, Clinic Administrator and Patient Care Coordinator for Advocare Clinics. I'd like to welcome you to our office. Advocare Clinics is considered an outpatient rehabilitation facility. We're pretty much one-stop shop. We offer wellness and prevention as well as acute pain and injury management. We have 3 distinct departments in Advocare. We have a physical therapy department, a chiropractic, wellness and prevention and acupuncture department, and a medical procedure department. And the unique characteristic is how we combine those therapies. Our goal is to prevent surgeries or conditions getting worse. So one of our specialties is knee, hip, ankle, shoulder problems, where people are considering surgery. Many times we can then provide care that'll buy them 5 to 10 years of ongoing function with their original equipment, their own joints and shoulders. Our patients tell us that they like the attention to detail that we deliver in our therapies. Most of our patients give us a 7+ score on a 1 to 10 scale, which means we're meeting a good amount of patient satisfaction based on your scores. Advocare's mission is to provide you a full and active lifestyle to the limits that you want, not what your body gives you.
Advocare Clinics, located off 494 and Highway 100, online at advocaremn.com. Speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials, or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
But a 4 seed very well could and should, without shocking anybody, be in the state tournament.
I certainly agree. Here we go, third period.
It's underway as the Trojans play it to the right wing side. That gets away from Snuggerud. Freitag bothered by Steven Spinner, who I think has played his best game of the year that I've seen so far, and I've seen plenty of them. You don't have to be on the score column to be an effective hockey player, and he is doing just that. Graham with it, wrist shot, Spinner! A shot over the top of the goal from the goal mouth area. A good look there for Steven Spinner.
Yeah, he got it right between the hash marks from the right side, but it was Alex Stevens that actually ramped that one up and out of play. Faceoff's going to be to Van Aren's right. Or left, I meant the other right, by the way, but Pete, you're right. This is probably the year that
right line left.
I'll get it right before this game is over, I hope, anyway.
Up to the left point, it's Shue that plays that one down the wall. Back in behind the net, Hemingway stood up by Graham. How great is this great game of hockey? I cannot wait in the upcoming next couple of weeks for the Olympics, Bart Archer. It is going to be on from Sochi. Let's just hope our athletes are safe over there.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about that, Pete, but I'm sure that
you think Putin's going to get it done?
I think he is. I think the Russian military or whoever's going to be pulled in there is going to keep our athletes safe, but it promises to be really a very competitive, at least on the hockey side, a very competitive Olympics this year, but definitely looking forward to it.
So while that's going on, we're in the crunch time here of high school hockey as we work our way through the threshold of the regular season and into the postseason. It just is. It's a great time to be a hockey fan. It's Lindstrand who plays that down the wall. Aguilar plays it up the right wing side, and it's going to be handled across the center by Argetsinger, and on goal for Vaughn Ahrens to steer to his right side. Hank Sorensen stopped at his tracks trying to play it ahead. Zimmer's been held in check here tonight as he plays that off the boards back into the Eden Prairie zone. The puck's going to be handled up the wall neatly there by Mark Sullivan. And again, it's going to be angled through off the Jack Sorensen heel and into the Eden Prairie zone. Swatted at off the boards. Played to the left wing side. On it now, it's going to be Aguilar playing up to the right wing. Aguilar again, back pedals, plays back in behind the net. Mark Sullivan tries to guide along. That's off his skate as it comes up high. Lindstrand sits on the puck, holds it, shoots into the midsection, rebound, spun just wide of the cage by Spinner. Or check that, Zimmer. That'll be clear to the length of the ice and icing the call. Oh my.
Well, really some good anticipation by the Eden Prairie goaltender Gertis on that one. He made the initial save, puck came out. Then they turned and fired, but he had that lower angle covered with his pad, so good anticipation by the Eden Prairie goaltender. But you're right, we have not said Zimmer's name very much, nor have we said Freitag, and those are two premier players, but I think that's more possession than anything else. Eden Prairie able to possess the puck when they're on the ice, and that's a key to this success so far.
Keep away in defensive hockey, Bart, sorry about that. Could be one of your best defensive tactics without question. And the Eagles have been so solid on the puck. Nice play at center ice, taking the body and forcing the turnover was Senden as that one's deflected high over the net. As Gertis looks at it as it dribbles off the netting and will face off inside the... Are we keeping it inside? Was that off an Eagle?
It was off an Eagle. It actually ramped up off a defender for Eden Prairie. Good challenge just inside the blue line. And that was Senden, as you said. Senden's a big kid. He plays with a little bit of an edge, but didn't have the speed to bring it in deep, so he tried the shot. But yes, face off is to Gertis' right.
Off the glass to center ice. Handled down by Hemingway. Snuggerud gets away from a stick check, stays strong on the puck, right wing side. Oh, and Von Ahrens went one way, the puck went the other, but missed the net. Clays holds it in at the Trojan line, as it's played back in behind the net. Heising has it stripped off his stick from Snuggerud right at the Wayzata line, played back in down to the left wing corner. Now the Trojans will work it out with Heising as he walks up to center, plays it in. Mahout, who's had a nice game here for the Eagles, gets away from Shu, who plays the body on him. Eagles will chip it to the left wing side as they'll walk across center with Niederer. To the forehand and a stick save neatly there by Von Ahrens. Lindstrand forced off the puck, saved by Von Ahrens again from a shallow angle, has the big pads up against the post. Aguilar across the line, and it's going to be Jack Sorensen in control for the Trojans. Gets away from Graham, brought down on the play. We're going to let him play here, folks, as Spinner now takes over the loose puck in the offensive zone. This is that puck possession time. Freitag is out right now. Haven't said his name yet on this shift. It's going to be Hank Sorensen with it. He'll carry up the left wing side. Sorensen plays that one and stood up by Aguilar. Shoveled off the right wing side. Zimmer was there. Graham takes from him. And guess who? It's Spinner up the right wing side. Gets away from a check to the right wing. He has a man in front. Shoots! And a big save made there. Blocker pad save, turning that aside. Back come the Trojans 2-on-2 through center. And Zimmer stood up on the play. That's taken away from Jack Sorensen. Spinner was there. Off his stick, it's going to be Hemingway. Left side for Stevens. He sends a pass through center. That deflects off a stick. That's Senden of the Trojans. No ice on the play, but Snuggerud covers up neatly. Snuggerud and Spinner have played like college freshmen here tonight. That's what you want from your seniors. Played back into the Eden Prairie zone as some of the Eagles change on the fly. You can hear the rattling of the boards as they change from our ice mic. At center, it's played back in behind the net. 12:42 to go here in the third. Snuggerud on it. Back behind the net. Holds onto the puck. Looks up ice. Cuts over to his left. Shovels that one off, but that's batted down neatly there. Here's a shot and a glove save and a beauty by Gertis. Oh, that was as good as it gets. And a penalty coming up.
Yeah, that puck seemed to bounce on Snuggerud a little bit. It was Senden that picked it up, and I think we might have a candidate for a save of the game on that one. It was Senden that was hitting the left-handed shot, right wing side, just on top of the dot, and let that one fire.
What does our very own Jim Rome on Sports Radio say? Rack 'em. We rack 'em.
But Wayzata now, as it stands, it's Senden that's going to go to the box. Faceoff's going to be all the way down in the Wayzata zone. 12:30 left in regulation time. We're scoreless, but Eden Prairie getting a golden opportunity as the person who just took a shot on goal took a penalty. So Wayzata with that 92.5% penalty kill is going to be challenged by the Eagles.
Snuggerud with it. Power play for the Eagles in the offensive zone. There's a shot that's up off the netting. And Von Ahrens wanted the puck out of the zone, but they're going to say it went off a Trojan player. And Pat O'Leary said, "You've got to be kidding me."
Well, it actually did. I think it went off Hemingway's stick and ran through on a play. I don't see how there could be that much discussion about that one, but faceoff's going to be to Von Ahrens' left.
Lee Smith, where does he want the puck to go?
In the net.
He said, "Get it to the net."
Okay.
He wants one guy on the weak side going to the net right away.
I got a little ahead of Lee on that one, but yeah, you have to get the puck between the hash marks, which is the challenge against Wayzata. But Wayzata at least playing pretty solid defense, using those busy sticks to thwart what would have been a pretty good look.
Pat O'Leary just flat out said you missed that one. He usually doesn't say much.
No.
But his whole staff was, wow. Spinner, a shot and a pad save from his famous office on the power play, right up top of the left circle. Spinner and Snuggerud play catch. A puck was fanned on. Graham holds and shoots. Wanted the high short side, but the knob of the stick turns that one aside. 1:33 to go in the power play for the Eden Prairie Eagles, still scoreless.
Well, it doesn't have to be pretty as long as it's effective, but Eden Prairie kind of playing a little keep away in the zone. Wayzata trying to catch up with it, but good look on the left wing side, just on top of the dot, tried to go, as you said, blocker side under the crossbar, but it hit the knob of the stick face off to Von Aaron's right. 12:02 left in this third period, 1:33 left in the penalty to Wayzata's Fendon.
Both centers toss, but Spinner gets it back anyway for Snuggerud. Try to force it. Heising's there. He's just going to turn and fire as he plays that one back in behind the net. Now it's going to be Gertis to guide it along to the right wing side. Skating into this loose change neatly there was Mark Sullivan, but quickly into some Wayzata traffic it goes. Now it's Snuggerud high on the left point. Check that, Spinner high on the left point. Walks it down low with a neat pass to Graham. Up high for Snuggerud, left point with the left shot. Now it's Spinner. Tried to chip one to Graham, who was going to the net, and it was picked off by Heising 1-on-2. Mark Sullivan gets the stick out front. Glove saved by Gertis. 52 to go here in the power play. Snuggerud back up ice. This is their second man advantage of the contest. Now it's Graham who plays that one off the end wall. It'll be Stevens off the glass, and that one gets up high away from Snuggerud, about elbow high, and back into their own zone. You hear the changes once again as the Ice Mike picking those up for you for the Eden Prairie Eagles. They can't get the zone, and it's cleared back to center by Wayzata. Shue from the top of his blue line angles through center ice with 15 to go in the man advantage. Spun back down the ice. Ooh, that off the heel. I get nervous every time goaltenders go to their backhand and turn that stick over.
Yeah, you and about 500 other people, Pete.
You're not defenseman. Puck is played back because it could go off the heel and trickle toward the goal mouth, the goal line. We're even now 5-on-5. The Eagles still work the offensive zone at Zimmer to help harmlessly play that through center. Will it have enough juice? It does for an icing call. 10-16 to go here.
You know, we're singing all the accolades of Eden Prairie and how they've been playing in this contest, but Wayzata did a really terrific job of killing that penalty. They really didn't get challenged too much as far as having Von Aarons having to make saves. Their positioning was solid, but they pressured quite well. Chase Heising really did a terrific job on that penalty kill to keep it where it is.
And we keep it here at 0-0, as you say, Bart Archer. Sullivan lost an edge. However, the puck was on the other side of the rink. Sullivan from the left point. Back at center it goes, 3-on-3. Here's Freitag, dangerous, and just wide. Did he even glance a post on that one?
I don't know if it did, but you have to get those shots on goal. He missed by just inches, but when you have that good of a look, you have to put it on net.
And at center ice, across the line, plays has been a physical force here tonight for the Eagles. Back behind, not really the number 28 of the Hawks we used to sing with these Eagle sweaters, and Steve Larmer, the man that used to blow bubbles handling the puck through center ice. I'll never forget it. Just another day at the office.
Boy, you're bringing up a lot of Chicago Blackhawks.
Well, these jerseys of the Eagles have got to go. They look just like them. That's Snuggerud with it across the line, and that's deflected up and out of play. As you can tell, I'm not a big Hawks guy.
No, I don't think anybody in Minnesota really is unless you're a transplant, but nice job by Hank Sorensen once again to get the stick on the shot and ramp it up and out of play. The faceoff's going to be to Von Aaron's right. Time is becoming a bit of an issue. 9:22 left in regulation time. We're still scoreless, but the opportunities seem to be coming a little bit more frequently, Pete. At least they're getting the looks, but again, they can't get in the hash marks on either side.
Through center ice it goes. Puck is spun into the zone there by number 17. That's Mr. Duma. In on goal, up high off of Gertis, and he hangs on. That was a Stevens shot, and he'll have the face-off to his left.
Yeah, a very difficult puck to contain. It just got him right under the mask in the chest area, and those are pretty difficult to contain as far as rebounds, and there was Wayzata support down low, so good save by Gertis on that one. But again, Stevens with a good quick shot. Didn't take the big windup, just very efficient on that snapshot, and pretty effective as well.
Puck is played up to the left wing side. Check thrown there, and it's handled now by the Eagles. We're under 5 minutes in Minnetonka. It's still 4-2 Hopkins for those of you interested. I'm not going to lie, I'm one of them with a child playing on the team. There's a shot and a pad save as it's played up. Just another one of those hockey dads, I guess, who happens to call the game.
And I don't think anybody will fault you for that one, Peter.
Cross center ice it goes as that's played back in behind the Wayzata net. Bumped off the end boards. Trojans breaking out of their zone with 8.5 to go here. Heising is there. Having a tough time handling it. And House of Fire, Steven Spinner wide of the goal. Loving his game tonight. Cole Lawrence is there. And it's up the right wing side. Heising forced to chip and chase and send it deep and icing the call. The second and third period, if you were, well, pretty much the Eagles have really had the territorial, the battles, and the opportunity edge here in this contest.
Yeah, they really have. They're taking really good angles to the puck. They're getting on goal. Wayzata's not a team that ices the puck very often, but they've iced it a number of times to relieve pressure, but that's a feather in Eden Prairie's cap. If they can play like this, they're going to be relevant from this point forward, but it's just sustaining this level of play, I think, is what Eden Prairie is hoping for.
Back behind the net now. It's going to be Graham. Up high. Fanned on by Boldenau. At center they go. Here they come. Parrish inside out. Check that. That's Patterson inside out. That one turned aside neatly there by Gertis. Puck rolls wide of the cage. And it's the Trojans now with a chance back in behind the net. They'll play this up to the point. Hank Sorensen is there. Plays that one down behind the line. And that gets away from Eric Branyan. Boldenau again. Shovels back behind for Shue. Guides along for Patterson. At center, swung on by Freitag as he plays that one in. He better hurry, Boldenau, because here comes Freitag, who plays the body and forces a turnover. Played back behind. Shue there to cover up. He plays back behind Boldenau off the boards. There's Freitag to cut off and make the play. From the left hash marks, right off the circle. Freitag gives Boldenau a little how's she going with a shiver. But Boldenau, neat play over for Shute. Flipped up through center ice. That's off Lindstrad's stick. Now Zimmer comes away with it. Turns up with speed across the line. Sticks all over him. Boy, that was Ginsu product there. That's a big check thrown there as it's across the line with Spinner as he tries to make a play to Snuggerud. That's wide of the cage. Now it's Argensinger. He oversteps the puck. Played back in behind. Lindstrand is there. There's a twig on the ice. That's Spinner's. He gathers it in. And it's the Trojans to play through center with Zimmer. And he runs into Spinner. Big time check there. That was an almost accidental hit, but two big players coming together there.
Well, Spinner was going to go off on a line change and saw the play was coming his way, and he just stepped into Zimmer, but he got him pretty good. Zimmer no worse for the wear, obviously, but we play on.
Heart and soul play from Steven Spinner here tonight. I've been nothing short of impressed. Down to the goal mouth area it goes. And behind the net, that's going to be handled and sent back out by the Trojans. That's Heising. He's been on the puck all night long. It's like he's craving this contact.
Yeah, I think he's been the most effective forward for this Wayzata team tonight.
Left wing pass. They'll send that rink wide. That gets away from the intended receiver. Plays. Hit the ref. Lands right on his stick. He spins and turns and fires. That one on goal. Shots on goal read 25-21 through this stage of the contest in favor of the Eagles of Eden Prairie. Back in behind the net now. It's going to be handled by Mark Sullivan. Looked to his right, didn't like it. Used the net as the shield, if you will. Oh. And it was Clays at center ice that was going to get railed by Stevens, but Clays just put the hands up and said, ain't going to happen here, Pally, and sent him packing. Off the goal mouth area. Here comes a shot from Aguilar. Shallow angle. Tried to squeak it in high, short side, off the left side of the cage. No go. Now it's Snuggerud under the stick of Aguilar. Hangs onto it, and it's going to be helped to center by Senden. Snuggerud had to hurry because Freitag was there with an angle. Got it away from him. Graham plays back in behind, gives off to Snuggerud. He'll angle off, tries to find a shot there. Oh, Sorensen, Jack Sorensen sprung on the back and scores! Jack Sorensen takes a turnover at center ice from Luke Snuggerud. walks in on a 2-on-1, shows it to the left wing and said, no, I'm pulling it to the backhand and goes upstairs with a 1-0 lead with 4:45 to go in the third period.
Yeah, one of the challenging things for the defenseman for Eden Prairie was getting that puck right in the thread of the needle, but it was Sorensen who took the puck, went in, as he said, Pete, kind of gave a little flash to the left wing side, but pulled it backhand just under the crossbar, water bottle bruised. But now it's Wayzata up with 4:45 by 1. But Eden Prairie's got to notch it up a point. Last 5 minutes, down by a goal, Eden Prairie at home. They have to turn it up a notch. But what a great play by Sorensen on that. And that's Sorensen's 12th goal of the year. He can finish, Pete.
You know, it's one of those things. We brought it in on the onset. That's steered by Von Ahrens up and out of play. Out of that, we brought it in the onset where you get the feeling about a game like this could be about one mistake, one little deal. And, you know, the situation, we've seen Snugrud. He likes to come out and kind of do a little shoulder fake inside and try to carry some space to the outside. Plenty of these Trojans that played against him in the Elite League and through the Lake Conference, they didn't bite on it and force a turnover.
Now it's good anticipation by Sorensen. They've been stepping up quite a bit, but Sorensen just got rewarded for a lot of hard work. He's been one of the better players for Wayzata tonight.
Cleared into the bench area, but stays in play. Didn't hit anybody. It's Heising across the line. And it was a nice top shelf goal, too. There was nothing muddy about it, to say the least, for Sorensen.
No, that was a skilled finish right there.
Steven Spinner across the line with energy. Wanted the short side high, couldn't get it. Great opportunity there by a high-level player for the Eagles, but Von Ahrens has been equally high-level in goal as well.
Yeah, and he had Michael Graham on the weak side. If you're going to take that shot, which is recommended, you get a look like that, you have to take the shot just inside the right dot, but you have to take particular attention to at least get it on goal, because he did have support down there with Michael Graham. But up and out of play, face off outside the Wayzata zone. 4:16 left in the third period. Wayzata up by 1, but he's very pressing.
Now it's going to be Mark Sullivan to play that one. And they've been pressing the whole game.
Yeah. But one person I'd like to make mention of, Pete, is Mark Sullivan, the junior defenseman, number 20 on this Eagles team. He's really turned in a good effort tonight. He's really played his position quite well. Been a very effective member tonight for the Eden Prairie Eagles.
No question about that, Bart. Tossed to the face-off circle is Argidsinger. And also that was sent, and the shot draw was won by the Eagles in on goal, but played to center and sent back in wide of the cage. It's going to be held off to the side. Mark Sullivan, who Bart just referenced moments ago, plays it up but picked off. Shot, nice one, saved by the goaltender Gertis as he fought that one off. That could have been a heartbreaker there, but he stole that one. That was a nice save.
Huge save.
Keeley with it. In on goal as going down to the butterfly was Von Ahrens to hold on to that one. I mean, he reminds me so much of Inman.
Yeah,
it's not even funny.
He really does. But he's a long drink of water. He's a big body in there, and he likes to go down. But he received that really more of a dump-in line change kind of a deal. I don't think there was any threat of goal scoring because it was taken with a wrist shot outside the blue line, so not a lot of velocity, but good positioning. Good decision by Von Ahrens to hold on to that, get some fresh legs out. 3:40 left. Wayzata out by 1, third period.
Ooh, they've got their own version of the, so if they're not playing the music here, they're playing it from the stands. Love it. And it's the Wayzata faithful.
They travel well.
Absolutely, working their NHL sweaters. There's some beauties down there. They have the cowboy hats, and it's just, I think they think a lot about what they're going to wear.
And I think they're pretty respectful fans, too. I really don't think they get carried away.
Very, very impressive. Royals just went up 5-2, by the way, Bart Archer with an empty netter.
You're giddy.
My goodness.
You're giddy.
It's going to be a tough night to sleep in the Wagner household, just tell you that much.
Way off the M&M's.
0 for 24 in the Lake. Those make me go to sleep, don't you remember? They react differently to those.
Sorry about that.
Shoe across center. 2:52 to go. All kinds of crazy things happening in high school hockey this year. This is a memorable season. If you're just checking in on it, now is a good time to stick with it because it's a lot of fun. Oh, it's an incredible season. That hits the official. Takes a friendly bounce to Freitag. Walks this one down low. Stood up on the play. Swung around to the right wing wall. Up at center ice it goes. It's going to be Parrish who races up the right wing. Poked off his stick. It's going to be Lindstrand. Picked off by Clays to the corner. They try to clear it up the wall. Do the Trojans can't instead take it to the right wing. 2:15 to go here third period, 1-0 in favor of Wayzata. With a Jack Sorensen goal with about 4 minutes left. That's been the only marker here in this contest. At center ice, it's played back in, wide of the cage, and icing the call.
Boy, I just want to mention that Michael Parrish, senior forward on Eden Prairie, has some good speed. He actually had a step on Chandler Lindstrand, but Lindstrand did a good job of closing. I didn't know Lindstrand had that kind of speed. I know he has a big wingspan, and he plays a solid game, but I didn't know he was that quick. Otherwise, it might have been a pretty good chance for Eden Prairie. Nice play by the Wayzata defenseman.
2:01 showing on the clock. Mahout was their first draw. I think he's lost all game, and shoe shots blocked. Snuggerud keeps it alive. Works the puck toward the goal mouth area. And it's played away from the oncoming forecheck of Cole Lawrence. And here come the Trojans, 4-on-3 through center. Spinner hustling to back check. Heising takes the loose change, leaves back for Hemingway. 1:41 to go. That's sent back in by Stevens wide of the cage. It's going to be Snuggerud with it, puts on the brakes. Now he'll walk it up ice to the left wing side. That's off the stick of Spinner. Lawrence with a neat pass to Spinner, tried to create to the goal mouth, but he was stopped on the play. Mahout plays ahead, and looking for some help there was Branyan, and it's played back in, handled by the Trojans. That high pass fails to click off the boards and played back up into center. High in the air, it's sent back in by Lindstrand. 1:10 to go. Snuggerud back in behind his own net. Turns this one back up ice. We'll keep our eye on Gertis as he's communicating with the bench. Sent back in behind. Von Ahrens is there. Forecheck continues. On it now are the Eagles. Off goes Gertis. On comes the extra attacker, and that's Clays. Now Mark Sullivan plays at left wing. At center across the line for Snuggerud, who chips that down low to the goal mouth area. Hank Sorensen plays that away. Jack Sorensen was there. Huge battle in the corner. Two bodies go down. An Eagle and a Trojan. 35 to go. Offensive zone. Eagles try to work it right wing side, and that one's whistled out. I'm sure we're going to get a timeout here, Bart Archer.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine we are. I just want to make mention of Jack Keeley on that one. He knew he wasn't going to get to the puck. He sacrificed his body to keep that puck in play to give Eden Prairie a chance.
Don't forget, folks, coming up at the conclusion of this game, we'll have the Let's Play Hockey Player of the Game, and now in...
The sound of a satisfying meal. More than 200,000 people in the Twin Cities don't have enough access to food. Now's your chance to do something. Share a simple meal of soup and bread to help raise money to fight hunger locally. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Join supporters like yourself for Prop's 4th annual fundraiser. On top of breaking bread, collect a one-of-a-kind hand-painted ceramic bowl. Enjoy entertainment by After 5 Women's Vocal Ensemble and other local musicians. And fight to keep your neighbors fed. Sponsored by Pulte Group, the Minnesota Vikings, and Cheryl Eastbourne of Edina Realty, it's the Props 4th Annual Fundraiser. Saturday, January 18th from 11 a.m. till 2:30 at Eden Prairie Central Middle School. To learn more, go to propfood.org.
A stammered game. They played well at certain spots, but again, this Eden Prairie team, there's a lot of positives to be drawn out of this. They still have 32.4 seconds with an offensive zone faceoff, so we're a long way from being over. But Eden Prairie, regardless of the outcome of this, Lee Smith has to feel good about the effort of his kids tonight. They played exceptionally well.
This is one you turn off the scoreboard, win, lose, or draw. That's about as good a hockey as you can play, and that's what you want at the end of the day from your squad, don't you think?
Yeah, and who would think that you'd shut Eden Prairie out at home too? So Jens Von Aaron actually, when called upon, he's really answered the bell.
He's had a lot of work here tonight. Shots on goal read 28-23 in favor of the Eagles. 18 to go. Puck's played back in behind. Snuggerud top of the left circle, plays high. Mark Sullivan shot. That doesn't get through on the backhand over the top of the goal. Graham with a great opportunity. 7 to go. Sullivan down the wall, picked off by Mahout. He's been terrific tonight. Sullivan goes down the empty netter, fails the click, but the Trojans dodge a bullet, pick up a huge win here on the road at the Eden Prairie Community Center.
Yeah, they certainly earned it, Pete. In fact, keeping Eden Prairie with a 0 on the scoreboard means they played a solid defensive game. I think offensively they had some room for improvement, but again, Eden Prairie played 3 zones well. They played 2 directions, and as you said, I think Steven Spinner played a whale of a game. There's a number of players on Eden Prairie that you could say played a terrific game. So I don't want to talk about too many because you always leave somebody out, but what a great contest we saw tonight.
Absolutely. Bottom line is, Bart Archer, what it comes down to is the Eden Prairie Eagles 2-5-1 now in their last 8 games. You know what? Throw that record out the door right now. If I'm Lee Smith and the coaching staff, I love the puck support. I love the possession. Had a very good goaltender there. He's very difficult to beat. That would be my impression.
Yeah, I would definitely say there's a lot of positives. In fact, I was very impressed with the defensive play as a unit of Eden Prairie tonight. Their zone exit from their own zone was very efficient. They made the passes they needed to. They didn't chase. They actually inflicted their will and forced Wayzata to react, and that's a good sign going into a very difficult Lake Conference schedule. So obviously they're disappointed that they didn't get the victory tonight, but they have to feel good about the way they played. But congratulations to Wayzata. Didn't play their best game, still came out of a very hostile environment with a win.
Let's pick up now your premier goaltender development save of the game.
Well, I think it's
off, but that's batted down neatly there. Here's a shot and a glove save and a beauty by Gurris. Oh, that was as good as it gets, and a penalty coming up. And that penalty, of course, did not yield a goal for the Eden Prairie Eagles, but nonetheless.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
Welcome into the Sun Current postgame show here on PSB Media. The Sun Current is your local community news source for over 50 years in the Southwest Metro. Find them online at current.mnsun.com. They are now mobile user-friendly, and you can also get information on school board news, different local events, and high school sports in the Southwest Metro. Current.mnsun.com. Brett Johnson back here in the broadcast booth, just briefly having a post-game show. Shots on goal for the game were 28-23 in favor of the Wayzata Trojans as they skate away with a 1-0 victory over Eden Prairie here on this Thursday evening. A great game overall as Wayzata scored at the end of the game, as that's how they're able to get a well-played victory here over Eden Prairie. Both teams played good hockey. Tough to see anyone take a loss, and be a tough one to swallow for Eden Prairie, but should be happy with the way they played in this one. Reminder, coming up on Saturday, we'll have coverage of Eden Prairie's next game. It'll be against Minnetonka right here on PSB Media, Saturday at 7 o'clock, so make sure you tune in for that. Our broadcast tonight brought to you by the Mulch Store, Performance Therapy Innovations. Also by the Tavern on 4 and 5, the Sun Current, Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, the Prop Empty Bowls event taking place again Saturday from 11 until 2:30 at Central Middle School at Eden Prairie. And also brought to you tonight by Healthy Training and Advocare of Minnesota. For all the guys here in the broadcast booth, Pete Wagner, Bart Archer, also Sid Thompson doing some highlights, Krister Woodley on camera, and I'm Brett Johnson. Wayzata wins this one 1-0. Make sure you tune in on Saturday for EP versus Minnetonka hockey right here on PSBMN.com.
Thanks for tuning in to live local play-by-play coverage of the Eagles High School sports. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, The Mulch Store, Alpha Investment Advisors, Performance Therapy Innovations, Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, and Healthy Training. Keep it tuned to PSBMN.com for more broadcasts of Eagles High School sports.